The curtain down on the 1990 football season, and things have not gone quite as planned for Texas Tech coming into this finale against SMU at 3-7. But this game means something. For the first thing, 16 seniors will be playing their final contest for Texas Tech. And for another, if they can win today, Texas Tech would finish the season with 2 consecutive wins for the first time since 1976. So it's time to play SMU, and the Raiders hope to ride that pony hard and put it up wet this week on the Video Season Ticket.
And there's a look at some of those 16 seniors about to play their final game for the Red Raiders. Beautiful afternoon at Jones Stadium for the season-ending contest against SMU. Ray Gaskin with highlights for you would pick up the action in the first quarter. Mike Romo back to throw. He's sacked by Charles Rowe for a loss of 5 as the Tech defense sets the tone for the day. Romo number 5 on the replay as you watch. Big pass rush, and Charles Rowe comes up with the sack. Now the Red Raiders go on the attack for the first time in the afternoon. Jason Rattan getting the starting quarterback. Throws complete to Rodney Blackshear for a gain of 10 yards. Then from the SMU 45, Rattan to pass, this time in the flat to Richard Ross. It's a gain of 9 on the play. And the Red Raiders drive continues. Later from the 35, Rattan to pass. He is flushed out of the pocket, fumbles, and the SMU Mustangs come up with the recovery to thwart the Texas Tech threat. But Ranji Hill on the second play after SMU takes over is downed hard by Matt Wingo. 3 plays later, Mike Romo to throw, but he is trapped and sacked by Marcus Washington for a loss of 7 yards. So SMU with nothing doing. Texas Tech goes back on the attack on a 3rd down and 3 from the Tech 9-yard line. Jason Rattan rolling right, and he throws out in the right flat to Anthony Manyweather, and he caught it before going out of bounds for a gain of 9 yards. A few plays later, Rattan rolls to the left this time and decides to turn it upfield. He scrambles for a hard-earned 9-yard gain. On 1st and 10 from the 42, Rattan on the option keeper. Hey, he looks like a running back here, doesn't he? Nice running by Rattan for a gain of 27 for the Eastland junior. But he was shaken up on the play. Robert Hall is now in at quarterback, and Anthony Lynn takes the pitch around left end, and he rambles for 23 yards down to the SMU 8-yard line. On the second play, on 2nd and go, Lynn taking the pitch around the left side, and he carries it in for the touchdown. So it is a 98-yard drive for the Red Raiders. They go on top with the extra point by Lynn Elliott. Good. And it is Texas Tech 7 and SMU nothing. 4:41 left to play in the opening quarter. SMU's next offensive series, Mike Romo looking for his favorite receiver, Michael Bowen. He throws complete. Brian Dubisky makes the tackle, but it is a gain of 18 yards for the Ponies. Romo, 2 plays later, looking to throw, and he finds Bowen on the sidelines. Bowen takes it for 22 yards before Tracy Saul makes a tackle. Several plays later, Jason Wolf taking the pitch, but it's a gadget play. Looks back for Romo. Romo is wide open, and the Mustangs are on the board on an 11-yard touchdown play. Here it is on a replay as they go to the bag of tricks, and it is Wolf to Romo for the touchdown. The extra point is good, and with 18 seconds to go in the quarter, the game is tied 7-7. And a little bit of concern by the Texas Tech faithful. And how about that turnout as you saw another excellent crowd at Jones Stadium on Saturday afternoon as the Red Raiders attendance is up quite a bit over last year. Rodney Blackshear on the kickoff return takes it up the far sidelines, and it's a 24-yard return out to the 42-yard line. Now here's a young man to watch in the future. What a bright future he does have with the Red Raiders. We're talking about Donald Marshall, the freshman, as he rambles for 19 yards, and the first quarter draws to a close. This drive continues in the second quarter. Robert Hall in at quarterback now, and he looks for Rodney Blackshear in the end zone. He's got it for the touchdown. It's a 27-yard TD play, and here it is again on the replay. Good pass protection for quarterback Robert Hall. And right there, getting behind the defensive back, is Rodney Blackshear for the 27-yard TD play. By the way, Blackshear broke Donnie Anderson's single-season TD pass reception record this season. The extra point, as you see, good, and it's a 14-7 ball game, and some smiling faces again among the Red Raider faithful. Mike Romo, what a tough afternoon the Ponies had. He hands off to Raji Hill. Matt Wingo with the tackle for a loss of a yard. A few plays later, Romo back to pass. He's looking, but it is Quentin Rhodes from Dallas South Oak Cliff. The senior picks it off at the SMU 43-yard line. Let's watch again on the replay. Romo under a big pass rush, and great timing by Quentin Rhodes as he knifes in front of the receiver, Wolf, to pick the ball off at the 43-yard line. Robert Hall goes right to work. It's reversed to Anthony Manyweather around the left end, and Manyweather picks up 13 yards as he takes it down to the Pony 30-yard line. His drive continues. 1st and 10 at the SMU 19. Lynn taking the pitch, and he runs for 8 yards down to the Mustang 11. Texas Tech continuing to move. Hall on a delayed pitch here to Lewis Sheffield, and Sheffield going for the pylon, finds it, and he's in for the TD. The officials say he was in the end zone. Here it is on a replay. Good running by Lewis Sheffield as he lowers his shoulder and goes in with 8:39 left to play in the first half. Once again, the extra point is good. Texas Tech leading 21-7. And Raider Red gets out those big old 6 guns and fires off a couple of shots, much to the delight of the Red Raider fans. 21-7. Texas Tech leading. Romo throws, but it is picked off by Sammy Walker, and Sammy Walker's going down the sidelines. The hand upraised as he knew he was going in for the touchdown. He spins the ball on the artificial turf, and it is a 38-yard interception for the score. Elliott, a very busy man on the afternoon, tacks on another extra point, 8:23 to go, and it's 28-7 in favor of the Red Raiders. Just nothing doing for the Mustangs as Love tries the left side, and Matt Wingo stops him for no loss. This brings up a 4th down. Lewis punting. The ball will go out of bounds at the Texas Tech 8-yard line. It's a 41-yard kick. Jason Rattan is back in at quarterback. He rolls out to the right and decides to turn it upfield. And Rattan, as we showed you on an earlier play where he gained 27 yards, running like an offensive back here, picks up 11 yards on the play. Then it's Don Marshall taking the pitch around left end. He races for 11 yards, goes out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Rattan is back to throw here, looking for Rodney Blackshear over the middle, and it is caught. Pass interference is declined, and on the next offensive play, Lynn goes in from 6 yards out. Tech adds another score to lead 42-7 at the half. And it's time now for our halftime feature this week. Texas Tech President Dr. Robert Lawless talks about Tech and the NCAA.
I really do believe that we should be differentiating intercollegiate athletics from professional athletics. And it doesn't appear that we're moving in the right direction. But if I had my wish, we would simply play for the trophy, where the pride would be in winning and there would not be financial incentives. It doesn't appear with all the conference switching and other things that are going on that that's the direction we're taking. But I think that would really be good for intercollegiate athletics if you took away the financial incentive to win and just laid that back to say the real point in winning is to win the conference championship and whatever for pride, as opposed to looking at a financial balloon that was the payoff.
Are there major problems if you do something like that in financing? Seems like an ever-increasing, ever-growing athletic department.
There could be. I think it depends on how that would be structured. I had proposed to the NCAA last year, which I'm sure went immediately into the wastebasket, a proposal where they would simply take all the revenue, other than expenses, all the TV revenue, all the bowl game revenues and everything, and distribute that equally to the 106 teams playing Division I-A football. That would not have generated extra money for Texas Tech, but I think it would have made it a more level playing field, and it would also have made it more easily, I think, accessible for teams to compete on a financially contained basis. As it is now, with so much money going back to whoever generates the revenue, those budgets get larger and larger and larger. And what we do is move toward these super conferences that you see forming.
The Red Raiders lead 42-7 as we get back to the action in the third quarter. Robert Hall in at quarterback. He throws on the screen to Anthony Lynn, and Lynn picks up 11 yards. So the Red Raiders picking up where they left off in the first half with that 35-point lead. Hall, this time throwing complete to Manyweather. It's a gain of 7 yards. Now Hall again flushed out of the pocket. This time he heads upfield, shows you his great individual athletic talent. He gains 18 yards before he's hauled down at the SMU 44-yard line. A few plays later, Hall the pass throws to Rodney Blackshear. 29-yard touchdown play as once again the Red Raiders are on the board. The extra point by Elliott is good. That's an 80-yard drive in 9 plays. It only took 3.5 minutes. And the Red Raiders are up 49-7 and closing strong with wins over TCU and SMU at the end of the season. Romo back to pass. He's sacked by Stefan Weatherspoon for a loss of 4. Nothing working for Coach Forrest Gregg's team. Now it's back to the Red Raiders again. Lewis Sheffield, who had a good afternoon, runs for 6 yards. And then 1st and 10 at the Tech 46. It's Don Marshall's turn. Good cutback. And he drags a tackler for a gain of 9 yards. Later on a 2nd and 11 at the SMU 38. Marshall on a delayed handoff, and he breaks a tackle and is finally brought down after a gain of 16 yards. So he takes it all the way inside the SMU 20-yard line. This is that play again. And boy, how about these moves? Runs right out of a tackle there. And as we said, turns this into a 16-yard gain before he is finally brought out of bounds on the stop. The drive culminated with a Lynn Elliott 28-yard field goal. And it's now Texas Tech 52 and a Mustang 7, 4:47 still to go in the third quarter. And Romo still in there at quarterback for the Mustangs, trying to find some combination that will work. Throws over the middle to Love. David McFarland and Lyric Eaton make the stop after a gain of 7 yards. Later, 1st and 10 at the SMU 37. Romo to pass. He's flushed out of the pocket, and he scrambles, but he can only pick up 8 yards before wisely running out of bounds. On the very next play, Romo to throw again, but he's sacked by John Pitts. It's a loss of 6 yards. And Romo continuing to have to go to the air. But this time, as he rushes up, the middle of the ball is stripped free, and it is recovered by Brian Gurlich. That fumble, by the way, caused by Stefan Weatherspoon. And this leads to another Texas Tech field goal. Hey, is that Jim McMahon? No. But he could pass for him. The Red Raiders with a lot to cheer about and a lot to smile about on this afternoon. Elliott's field goal is good, and with only 38 seconds to go in the quarter, 55-7 showing on the board. We go to the fourth quarter action now, and Don Marshall getting heavy work on the afternoon, runs for 17 yards. A couple of plays later, Jason Rattan back in there at quarterback on the keeper, carries it for a gain of 9. And then from the 23-yard line, it's Kinney on the carry, but there is a fumble, and the Mustangs come up with a turnover at the 23-yard line. New quarterback for the Ponies. It's Dan Freiberger. Freiberger rolls left. I don't know when I've ever seen a quarterback do this much scrambling on one play. Freiberger must have run 50 or 60 yards or more here. Finally gets the pass away, complete to Berry for a gain of 13 yards. Well, a couple plays later, Freiberger is probably bushed here. Just doesn't have the energy to get away. Sacked by Ben Kirkpatrick for a loss of a yard. As the Red Raiders take over, the third quarterback of the game comes in. Chuck Wyatt out of Pflugerville is now in at quarterback. Coach Spike Dykes using 4 quarterbacks on the year. Bruce Hill gets the carry on the draw for a gain of 12. Hill again on the draw up the middle. This picks up 10 yards. Bruce Hill doing some hard running. Coach Dykes and his staff able to put lots of players into the game in the second half. 2nd down and 8 down at the 26-yard line. And once again, it's Hill out of that tailback position, and he turns this into a gain of 16 yards. Drive continues. Shane Sears gets the call from a yard out. And is he in or is he not? Big pile up there. And it takes the officials what seemed like forever to decide whether he crossed the plane of the goal line. Yes, he got in, and the final was 62-7 Texas Tech. So that is your final score. Now let's go to the locker room for some player comments.
This has been a tough year. Looking back at it now, anything that as you look back that hurt you, that you maybe wish y'all could have done a little bit better?
Yeah, I think there's 2 games during the season and we wish we could have over. I think we wish we could have the Baylor game over and the Rice game. You know, I think those 2 games right there hurt us, and you know, we wish right now we go back and play those 2 games over.
This one today was for the seniors, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We, you know, they've all come out here, done a great job for us, worked hard, and you know, we're just glad to send them out a winner.
And you finally win at home.
Yeah, finally got a game at home, and you know, that's what we've been looking for all year. The fans been giving us great support, and we wanted to show them our appreciation.
We're going to be ready for next year, you know, because I think these last 2 games we got our confidence going, and we got things really on the ball, and that's a great way to end the season.
Well, you really held SMU down offensively.
Well, we came out. That's what we set to do. We knew that they had that big play offense, and if you don't let them get that big play, then you know it's kind of hard for them to get things going. And we came out with that intent in mind, is to stop them and not let them get the big play, and we did. And evidently, you know, they didn't get much going at all.
You finally won one at home too. That has to be nice.
That was big. Coach was emphasizing that. You know, we hadn't won one at home this year, and I thought we needed to for the fans and the band and the people in Lubbock that have been coming out and supporting us the whole year. It's been great, and they really needed to see it. And for us as a team, you know, it was a good win.
It must have been an emotional week this week for seniors because of the fact you haven't won at home, and this is the last game, and the season hasn't really been what you expected. Do you think that was the key today?
It may have helped some. It really did. We had a bunch of great seniors. A bunch of great leaders on the football team that did a great job and put a lot of time into Texas Tech University program. And I know it was tough for them to come out here today. I'll be in their last game in Jones Stadium, last game with the Raiders, but that might have been a little extra incentive, yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, we've been looking for that total team effort all year, and you know, it finally starts to come together these last 2 games, you know, and it's just great, the greatest feeling in the world going out, you know, of college football, a win like this.
Feel like you want to play another season right now, don't you? If you just jump in and play about another 5 or 6 games.
I just wish we could start over again, you know, and start off with Ohio State, and I just know they couldn't play with us then, you know. That's the way it goes.
Wish we could play a few games over now and play and click like we've been clicking here lately, and maybe something different would happen, but we can't do that. Life's got to go on, and you know, it's fixing to go on.
When you look over the season, are there some games in particular that you'd like to have back?
Yeah, I'd love to have the Ohio State game back, the Baylor game, the Houston game. You know, you can name them all, but I think that, you know, those are some games that we should have won.
Yeah, it is a very sad moment right now for me, and knowing that, and it's been great, and the experiences and the people that I've met since I've been here at Tech has just been wonderful, and I wouldn't change it for the world or do anything different.
I just wanted to get a chance to start so I could get relaxed and get into the tempo of the game, because coming into a game, it's tough because you're not really knowing what's going on, and the game plan has changed as the game has gone on. And so yeah, I was really glad to start.
It's interesting in this ball game and the fact that there's not a senior quarterback saying goodbye. You guys all last time, and now you prepare for the off season of next year. And who's going to be the starter?
That's going to be a good question. It's going to be an interesting spring, and it's going to be a heated battle between the quarterbacks.
You know, I hope this is going to snowball in the next year. I mean, next year we ought to be so mad that we ended the season the way we did, that we ought to start off by killing the first team we play. I mean, if we'd been playing like this the whole year, I don't know if our record would be the same as it is. I mean, like, you know, you hate to look back, but you know, when you do it like this, when you end the season like this, you can't help but look back and wonder what you could have done if you'd have played like that.
You almost wish you had another few ball games left.
I wish we could start all over again, but we can't do that, and all we can do is grow from this season right here and hope we don't make the same mistakes next year.
Yeah, you know, it felt good coming to this season because, you know, people didn't know that much about me, and I just feel I have to make a name for myself and do good.
You know, what is it you think that has made you the receiver that you were this season? All the things that combined to give you over 900 yards receiving.
I think it was my attitude coming into this season. You know, like I missed last year, and I really wanted to try hard, to do good and prove that I could be a good player, and that's what helped me out missing last season.
We had a good game plan going in, and everybody on the field executed all at once. In the past we've had breakdowns here and there, and it just seemed like everybody was on today.
And you got that moment. They've been rare for you to find your way into the end zone. Had to burrow in. It took them a while to find out, but there was no question you were in that end zone.
Yeah, I was in, and I wasn't sure if they called it or not. It was good to be my last carry.
It really had to be, and for a lot of seniors who wanted to go out winners at home, got to play a great deal, got to go out feeling good and help a program with the future.
Yeah, it was good to finish the year up with a win and send them, the guys coming up next year, with a good taste in their mouth. They're going to be a good team next year.
You got to carry the ball, I think, more this season than any other. Caught some passes, scored some touchdowns. For a guy that didn't come in the most heralded player, I guess, and you certainly contributed and did a lot of things to help the team this year.
Yeah, it felt good to get out there and play and be able to do what I could when I could. It's been a good year, and I've enjoyed it.
Well, it only took about 11 weeks, but I saw you smile more today than I've seen you smile all year.
Eddie, it's been it was a great game today. It was a sad game. Coaching is funny. You really get close to kids. We spend way more time with these players than we do with our family, and so really we become a family, and 16 of them finished up today, and that's always a very sad deal. It's a celebration in a way because they're going on to bigger and better things in the rest of their life, but selfishly you hate to see them go, and they've meant a lot to us. They've been when they came to Tech, they were told you couldn't have winning seasons, you can't go to bowls, you can't do this, you can't do that. They came anyway. They laid it on the line for us. We've had a lot of good times since they've been here. I think they've taught a lot of people a lot about life. Certainly our young players have really been given some great examples to follow, and you hate to see them leave. You hate to give them up, I tell you, but they are a fine bunch, and it's nice that we could win the last two games, and I don't care what you say, and this is not an alibi, but in coaching, I shouldn't say that, not in coaching, in playing, you really sort of remember your last game, and and our last two will be good memories. Maybe we can forget about those other ones, but really that's the way it works, and I think it's a real credit to a football team when they go through a season and they have, we had some very frustrating, exasperating things happen to us in the middle of this season, and we weren't very good, and we lost 3 or 4 games, and rather than throw the towel in, these guys just backed their ears and fought through it, and we've really played hard. We played hard all season, and we've been able to win some. Of course, we haven't been able to win them all, but and we've lost some. But they have hung in there, and they've never got their head down. There's never been an attitude problem. We've never had a discipline problem, and I'm proud of them. I really am proud of them. I wish we could have won more games, but there's a lot of things in life worse than losing, I guess.
I want to touch one final thing on SMU. Forrest Gregg, their coach, I think he adds a lot to the Southwest Conference, don't you?
Oh, he's as classy a guy as there is, and I tell you, Forrest Gregg has to give up the coaching to go in and be the athletic director. That's a great loss for this conference and for this country and for a lot of kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, I hope he can get both posts, because Forrest Gregg is good for football and he is good for this conference. He is a true living example of what college football is all about. He's a guy that played in the conference and was a great one, and was a great coach in the NFL, and chose to come back in college football. And there's not anybody in the world respects anybody anymore than I do Forrest Gregg, or anybody else. Everybody respects Forrest, and he is a classy addition to our conference.
I want to touch on the score of 62-7. What's your thinking in the second half? You obviously can't send kids in and say, don't try to score. How do you coach that type of game?
Well, it's hard, Eddie. I thought our guys did a good job. We, you've got to try, and you forget about everybody we had out there today. They work out 12, 15, 16 hours a week. They wait for a chance to play, and then they go in the game. You don't say don't do well, and I think I don't think anything was out of the ordinary. I thought it was handled just like it ought to be. The guys hustled. They tried hard. They weren't trying to run the score up. We did what we had to do. We played everybody we had out for football, and they played well. And so, you know, that's one of those things that happens every once in a while. I have been on the other end, and I've been, you know, where you just, some days it just doesn't work, and somebody beats you bad, and that's no, I mean, that, you know, we got beat 61-10 down at Miami 5 or 6 years ago, and they didn't try to run the score up. They just got a hot hand. We couldn't stop them, and shoot, it just doesn't taste very good sometimes, but that happens in this game, and I think we all understand that. Most people have been on both sides of the fence.
Final thing, we'll talk about the season ticket more on the season finale tape, but I've got a lot of good feedback this year from people that have gotten the tape, and I just wanted to tell everybody what a pleasure it's been working with, and they can help us, and I think they can help this football team and this university if they will respond and tell us what they'd like to see in this program.
I'll tell you, Eddie, I've heard nothing but great raves about this. I think this is the sad thing about it, it's a secret, and I'm not sure enough people realize just exactly what it is. You know, in our little old family, we're giving 6 or 8 for Christmas presents because they are. If people like Tech, you know, if they have an interest in Texas Tech, and they have an interest in kids, or they have, it's amazing, and y'all have done a tremendous job, and I'll tell you something, you got to feel good. You probably have given way more than you've received, and because you had a great idea, it's a great concept. You rolled the dice. You said, we're going to go try it. And anything new is hard to sell. Everybody understands that. But all you got to do is get a few people that have had it and let them tell the story, and then it'll go like wildfire, because it is great, and y'all have done a wonderful job of producing it. And I tell you, you give a lot of people a lot of hours of enjoyment, and I congratulate you for it, and I thank you for it, because I think it's great for our program and great for our school.
I'll tell you what makes me feel good. We started talking about this in preseason, what a great place this is, and here at the end of football season, I'm proud of this school.
Oh yeah, and I am too, Eddie. And I hate to, you know, I hate to have won 4 games and lost 7. I really do. I've been lucky in my old life, and I've not had that very often, and only 3 or 4 times in my coaching in 35, 31 years, 32 years, whatever it is, have we ever been less than 500. And I don't mean that the way it sounds, but it sort of brings you back to perspective, and it's hard to take. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but that's part of it. I don't think you can go have a runaway every time something doesn't go to suit you. That's part of the lesson we teach. And you know the great thing about it, though? And let me tell you this. We won 4 games and we lost 7. I've not seen a crowd any livelier. We're playing a team that has lost 8 straight games. We had over 30,000 people here. We had a sellout last week against Texas, the week before against Miami. I mean, we've had such great support, and with a very just not a good record, and that tells you a lot of things, I think. And you know, Texas Tech, how could you argue with that? I mean, about the real quality of this university. There's a lot of people around here that care, mister, and I'm proud of it, and I'm proud to be a part of it, I'll tell you.
Have a nice Thanksgiving, and we'll see you for the finale tape.
Okay, that'll be great. Thanks a lot, Eddie.